What's going on, Star Wars fans? Welcome to another week of Rule the Galaxy podcast. It's me, DDoc. I am back for the first time in probably like 2 or 3 weeks, honestly. It's been a bit crazy over here, so I'm really excited to talk a little bit of Star Wars, maybe a little bit of other stuff tonight. Pretty exciting stuff. I was running around like crazy, so that's why we're running a little bit late. It is my fault if you're watching us live right now. With reminder, we are usually live on Thursday nights. Like and subscribe on the YouTube Rule the Galaxy podcast. Tonight, I don't know what chapter it is. Joe will know, and he's probably going to be saying it out loud.
272.
272?
Yeah, that's the name of the stream.
There you go. All right. I should have looked at what Joe set us up with. Chapter 272 of Rule the Galaxy podcast. I'm here with Alfie and Brent tonight. Brent, how are you doing?
I'm doing dandy. As I'm trying to get back into the hobbying. So there is a massive subway station that I am trying to take my hand in painting and actually doing a good job doing details on it.
I haven't seen that yet. What is can you show it right now?
So here's one of the pieces of the train. I showed it the other day, and Azalea said it looked like Boba Fett. I'm trying to see. There's like green and white and red, and then there's the gold around the doors.
Dude, so, that looks awesome.
So
it's really good.
And then currently, I am doing. This is a stairway that there's like a piece that goes onto it, and then there are escalator pieces as well. The subway tile. So
are you getting into the diorama game now, Brent?
No, so there's another game called, like, the store that I go to, he bought and had a whole thing for Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is pretty cool. So you can have like the Hulk can pick up parts of the terrain and throw it at the opponents, and it'll do damage based upon the size of the terrain. So there was a whole subway 3D print that he had printed up about a year and a half ago and was sitting in a corner, and it's summer and I wanted to work on some terrain. So here we are.
How does it feel to paint something that's not microscopic?
I love terrain for that purpose. So DDoc, I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, you can look over my shoulder. There's the rest of the pieces. It'll lay out. That table is a 6x4. So those pieces will lay out to be almost 3 foot by 5 foot to make this entire set.
Is that a rigid drill?
It is a rigid drill,
okay.
And it is really good. I will recommend some Home Depot if you are in the Home Depot world. I will shill for Home Depot on that drill.
Now, Alfie's a DeWalt man.
Yeah, we belong. The Molineros were a House of DeWalt family.
So Alfie's DeWalt, Brent is rigid, and I am a Milwaukee man. So
I don't use it for near the level of work that y'all need it for. So for your home, what is it, handy homeowner makeover stuff, I will not swear by it, but I will support rigid.
Yeah, my dad is a rigid guy, and they're capable of doing bigger projects as well. So they're good. They're good tools.
They're not in the Milwaukee or the DeWalt family, though. Yeah. Those two are solid.
And DeWalt's not in the Milwaukee family, but we'll move on for that. Oh man, I'm just kidding. My brother is all DeWalt. He's got their kits, he's got everything DeWalt, and it's hilarious when me and him are working together. I have Milwaukee pack out sitting right next to his DeWalt. It's hilarious. So fun stuff. I started with Ryobi, found my way up. Alfie, how are you doing?
We're doing good, DDoc. As always, just excited to be here to talk some Star Wars. Busy summer so far, so it's always nice to take a little break on Thursday nights.
Yes. And, I'm part of the reason I'm running late is because I'm totally thrown off time-wise. I probably didn't get started really working till like noon today. I'm like terrible. I just got back from California, as some people may know, and I am terrible at adjusting my time right now. It's the first time I've ever been in a different time zone where I've got to readjust to the 3 hours. It was easy to adjust there because I just stayed up late when I got there. But now I'm struggling a little bit. I'm the type of person who, if I can't if I can't sleep, I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm just going to sit there wide awake. So, yeah, I'm getting adjusted here, getting back to the East Coast time here. So, I went to Disneyland out there though, and I did see Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland.
And how does it compare?
You know, it's pretty much the same. The way you enter it is a little different, but it's the same. You know, it's I gotta say it's odd. It's like I like Galaxy's Edge, and I really like the rides in Galaxy's Edge. I'd say the allure of walking through there has kind of worn off a little bit for me. I'm not a Galaxy's Edge hater, but I don't know. Or more so, we only went on the Millennium Falcon too. I was like, I didn't feel like waiting for Rise of Resistance, so that's what we did.
And what seat did you get?
I was a pilot.
Oh, which one?
I was
Han or Chewie?
I was Chewie.
Did you punch it?
No, I was Han. I apologize. I was Han. My wife's cousin, technically my cousin, she was the other pilot with me. David was just like, I'm not flying it. He's like, I'm not flying. I'll be the gunner. So that ride really is a lot of fun. You know, it's just a good ride. You know, let me ask you this. This is a funny question. For Hondo. Sorry, I'm getting a little thrown off here. For Hondo, is he animatronic in Disney?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wish I could.
Yeah, he's a live actor in a video in Disneyland.
Okay.
So it's definitely the guy who did Hondo's voice, probably. But
so, are you talking about when on the ride? Are you talking about because when he comes on at the end, it's definitely a live actor. It's not animatronic. If you're talking about in the waiting line,
the briefing room.
I don't know if Hondo's in the briefing room.
I feel like there's an animatronic of him in Disney World. I don't know why. That's
It's
I'm
up
like,
above while you're waiting in line.
It's in the line. It's in the waiting line as you walk in. Now, when you do single rider line, you don't get to see that. But
yeah.
yeah, no, it is an animatronic. It is not so. So I guess that could be the briefing room. It's been a while.
Yeah, we did the Genie Plus. So I mean that is, you know, when you're planning out your day with that thing, it costs more money, obviously, but it's the reason why I got to ride essentially almost every ride in Disneyland and in California Adventure. So the only one I didn't get to go on that was like, you know, high on my list was the Guardians of the Galaxy. Whatchamacallit? Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the old Tower of Terror that they changed to a Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Right.
You know, I can't help but look at that and see why they would not have made that an Avengers Tower, because it's right smack dab in the middle of their Avengers like area. So
I thought they did make it the Avenger Tower.
no, it's Guardians of the Galaxy, which it's an odd looking it's an odd looking building. You know, you can obviously tell it was the Tower of Terror, but they did a lot of crazy stuff to it. So yeah, it was a really good time. There was a Spider-Man ride there where you're like shooting your webs. You know, I don't know. I'm critical. I can't help but to look at the Avengers area and feel like they probably could have done something different with it, but it's cool. It's definitely cool. I think they should have done the Avengers Tower, though, with Tower of Terror, and just had it be the scenes from the first Avengers movie.
Where Iron Man is falling and the armor catches up with him.
Oh, yeah. It would have been awesome. They could have done some crazy stuff with that. But I've heard people love the Guardians ride that's there, and I didn't get to ride it. So we also went to Hollywood Studios and saw Mario World as well out there. So
is it
Hollywood
Mario?
Studios, Universal Studios Hollywood.
Right. So they've got Marvel. Okay.
That was Mario.
Epic Adventure isn't open in Orlando yet.
Yep.
So 2025.
Yeah, and you can tell that people are whatchamacallit. are getting are traveling there from like around the world to see it.
Can I have a phone, Daddy?
Was that the only Mario Park?
Can I have a phone?
Yeah, it actually is. No, there's one in Japan, I'm pretty sure. So there's one in Japan, and this is the only one in the United States right now. And they're building the one at Epic Universe, which is going to be bigger than this area. I got to say, I feel no desire to go to Hollywood or Universal Studios Hollywood ever again.
Why is that?
Because the Mario, number one, there's 2 levels to the park. Here we are. This is like theme park talk episode. There's 2 levels to the park. You have to go down 4 escalators that are huge to get down to where the Mario area is. Okay. So to get down there, if you have a baby in a stroller, they don't have any elevators. No elevators. You have to take the baby out of the stroller, wedge the stroller on these huge escalators, and ride them down. So it was it was pretty ridiculous. Like, I'm just like, how do you not have any other way? I mean, it's built onto a hill, but yeah, it I don't know. It seems like it's poor planning to me, but I'm pretty sure that's how Universal Hollywood has existed for a very long time. And then in the Mario area, you cannot bring any strollers in. So if you have a 2-year-old like me, yeah, it's a problem. So they also make it very tiny. They don't put a lot of shade in there. So I think they purposely like let you get cooked alive inside that area so you get in and get out of it because it's pretty small and there's only one ride in it. But we had fun. The Mario Kart ride is fun and it was very cool to see. I'm just going to say, for the hassle you have to go through to get down to it and everything, I don't think it's like a 2-time thing for me. I'll go to Disneyland again in a second. Disneyland is like really good in my opinion. Like really, really good. I love it.
Smaller though, right?
Didn't bother me one bit because you walk right out of your hotel, right through downtown Disney, and you're in the park. You do security. You do security at downtown Disney. So it's simple. It's easy. The monorail, you can get on it in the downtown Disney area. You scan your park ticket, it drops you off right in the middle of Disneyland. So it's awesome. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So should we get into Star Wars talk just yet? Or what do you guys want to do here?
You lead us, DDoc. We'll follow.
Yeah, because you probably got more Star Wars talk. You're catching up.
I'm caught up. I'm caught up on the Acolyte. I watched.
Well, you didn't get to talk about the Acolyte that much.
I haven't actually talked to you guys about it live because I was listening to your podcast while I was working. So when you guys were talking about the first 2 episodes, so yeah, there's stuff I enjoy about the show and stuff I don't like at all. You know, yeah, it's one of those things.
Let's hear your quick hitter for 1 and 2. Or no, we're on 4. What's your quick hitter for 1, 2, and 3?
1 and 2, I thought were solid. Brought some good mystery into it. I still hate the lightsabers and how they look in this show. I think, as we've talked about in some group texting, I just don't like the set design and I don't like the way it looks on camera. I just think that for the budget they had for this show, I want to know where the hell it went. Just because, you know, listen, there's stuff I'm going to criticize about this show. It's just because I don't like it. If people like this show, I don't care. Enjoy the hell out of it. You know, I'm not going to tell anyone to not enjoy something. Seriously, there's stuff I enjoy that people think is stupid. So I'm not going to sit here and say anyone who enjoys it is wrong or whatever. I don't like the ships in it. I'm talking about all the stuff I don't like right now.
Get it out. Like, it's cool.
The ships, it's like, I feel like ships are such a huge part of Star Wars. And I feel like this show is doing their best to only show a ship for 2 seconds at a time, anytime there's one on the screen. Like, I don't know. I guess they were inside of the one ship when they were traveling in this past episode. They showed the interior of the ship when they were with the rat mole, the drug sniffing rat. Basil, that was his name, Basil.
The naked mole rat.
Yeah. I'll remember his name is Basil because of Austin Powers.
That's a good one. I didn't even think of that.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of something similar. I'll say to things that I don't like about sequel trilogy is I think that the actors and actresses that they have in this show are doing a good job. I just don't know that I love the direction. I like the mystery of it, though. I do like the mystery of it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not wondering what's going to happen next week.
Okay. So at least that part of it, like, it does leave you with like, oh shit, what's going to happen now?
Yes. I thought episode 3 was bad. I really did. I thought it was really bad. But yeah, I wasn't like, I didn't know what was going on.
You didn't like the chant? You didn't like the chant?
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's connected to social media in any kind of way, people know that people have been complaining about that episode. Which for me, it's like I was away, so I was hardly on my phone. I just knew people didn't like it. So when I got back here, I watched them, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
I stand by it. It's in the top 3 of worst things I've seen in live action for Star Wars.
That episode or the show?
That episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so now I'm curious. What are the other 2?
I would say, well, one has to be the holiday special.
Okay.
And then I don't think the first Ewok special was that bad, especially for the context.
But the second one?
Yeah, the second one. Yeah, that one wasn't real great.
I will say I may have disliked the speeder chase in Book of Boba Fett more than the chant. I'll say that.
Wow. Because, I mean, I'm like, out of everything, the chant is the one thing that I really, really don't like at all. I think it was way too. I think I heard somebody say it on like a review that I watched. It was way too like high school drama. It was way too stage play, drama, musical, and it wasn't. I mean, I get the point of it, but it was bad.
I think if they just yelled that chant, it would have been fine. They didn't need to draw out many in it. They didn't have to say many spirit fingers.
It was the spirit fingers that made it worse for me. But all right, so let's talk episode 4, Wookiee Jedi Homeworld.
Yeah, he was a great character in this show, wasn't he, Brent?
You didn't hear me. I am actually upset about this because you give me a Wookiee Jedi and then you basically kill him off in episode 4. But we know that there's going to be at least one, if not more, flashbacks because he still fights. And then you also make him a pseudo bad guy based upon the way the story plays out. And I say pseudo bad guy because we don't know exactly why they attacked the witches, but we know that he was one of the ones that was involved with attacking the witches. So you give me a Wookiee Jedi, and then you kind of make him evil.
Exactly.
Or not evil, but like I don't know.
Very fractured.
What do you mean by that?
He's a broken person.
I mean, that's pretty much what they were showing. Like they all are, except for Carrie-Anne Moss. They all seem to be fractured from that situation.
I'm not. The thing that I like about her character that I find funny is that opening scene. Obviously, her only scene in this so far. Well, she was in the flashbacks.
She was in the worst episode.
She was perfectly fine to let May kick everyone in the bar's ass without doing anything to stop it.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
So I don't know, when her, Jedi senses took over for her to have to step in, but was it after, the person had their back broken over a table and, how many people had to get beat up before she would intervene? So maybe she's not as solid of a character as what we think.
Something is a little off about her, I feel like she's always kind of sitting there and just kind of looking on, and like, I don't know. She's definitely high ranking, but I don't know. It's funny because I rarely ever get a chance to listen to Rebel Force Radio, and I always hear you guys talking about them. And when I was working yesterday, they were doing a live show, and I started listening to it. And those guys brought up, they were like, are these guys the B team? Because they're like, in this episode, you got Kiadi Mundi, which we'll be getting into that, obviously. So,
Discount Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that the Ollie's version of him?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank God Yoda is not in this series.
I looked up Kiadi Mundi's head, though. And I will say, when you look at the character shots, because I thought his head looked a little weird at the top of it in this, but I was looking back and it's like, it kind of does look exactly the same. But it's just a little, obviously it's different. And, there was definitely a birthday change on him, right?
Right. But that's not, that's not canon anymore. So it's not 100% that they changed anything.
Yes.
Okay. Did you know it before this?
What?
Did you know his birthday?
No.
Yes.
When did that come up? And why did you know his birthday?
Why? Because at one point I had looked into the Jedi Council before this show and how old they were. So whether or not there would be any chance for them to be in it.
Well,
is that a sufficient answer?
That is a sufficient answer. But what I'm getting at, I guess, is there are some people that are reacting like this is the worst news that they've ever heard in their lives. And I want to test them all and wonder, when did you find out like his birthday? And when did you know? Like, and why? I guess it's just.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, you're just going to discount how many different comic series that he appeared in, novels, role playing games,
but even
video
in those,
games.
Even in those, did they say how old he was? Did they say like how long that species lived? Did they say when he was born? I mean, yes, he's been in a lot of stuff. Like,
okay, let me just stop you right there. If you have to alter the Wikipedia page, then your answer is yes. At some point, it did.
That is true. I did see they made a live change of his.
And then fans threatened the dog's life of the person who made the change.
I have nothing to do with those people. You just ask a question and I answer.
No, I'm not saying like those fans are the ones that give everybody else a bad name.
Yeah. Those people need, as the kids say today, they need to go touch grass. You ever hear that one?
Losing sleep over it? No. Did I think that it was odd that they did it? Yes, especially when you have a Plo Koon lookalike that you're going to say isn't Plo Koon. That's fine, okay, but kind of makes sense age-wise that he fits in the story. So why wouldn't you just you see what I'm saying? Why go out of your way to try to make something fit when you had a perfectly good character that did fit?
Maybe Leslie Headland. Maybe Leslie Headland. You know how Dave Filoni like loves Plo Koon? Maybe Leslie Headland loves Kiadi Mundi.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I get that most of the Jedi in this scene are red shirts, so.
Right. Basically, right? Like, they're.
Right.
And they're also like, I guess that's what you mean by red shirts. They're going to, like, you're going to say they're dying early in Star Trek by the red shirts. They're young. They're early. Like, there's no one that's like, I don't know, senior. I don't think. No, I think we might have thought that they were senior and thought that Soul was higher up and were like Jedi Council level, but I believe they're all like Jedi Knights right now. There's no one in this show that's High Council.
They've mentioned twice now about not informing the High Council about what's going on.
Right. Which is the same thing that like Mundy says is like, we need to tell them. And they're like, nah, they don't need to know. Because they want to take care of it themselves because they don't want them to look bad.
Right.
Which is the same reason why they got into this mess in the first place, I feel. It's because those four thought that they could do it on their own and not make a big deal about it.
Right. It's really making them look bad. And especially makes his character look bad because now you're going to say that he's 0 for 3 in encountering the possible Sith.
Yeah, but no one said that this is a Sith, though. Everyone's thinking it's just a rogue Jedi at this point.
That's my point.
Right.
He does it 2 more times.
I know the one in Phantom Menace. Where's the other time?
Attack of the Clones. Count Dooku is
that's right. He's just an idealist. He's a political
idealist.
He's a political idealist.
Not a murderer.
Man, Kiadi crew can't really back him up that much because he's always wrong on everything. Maybe that's why they were just like, let's get a guy in here who's just not going to believe. Let's choose a Jedi who's not going to believe what happened at all. And maybe that explains why he says the Sith have been extinct, Which is, who just said, though, we don't know that it's a Sith. This could just be.
They don't know. Like, okay, so this is the difference between real life and our understanding of what's going on and us knowing backstories versus allowing it and looking at it from an in-world perspective. In-world, all they know is that somebody is hunting these Jedi that lived on that planet.
And that's a perfectly fine viewpoint to have, but the future already exists too. So it's fine at this point in the story for them to say it's not a Sith, but at some point either everyone has to die or they're just dumb and never put it together.
Yeah.
Or it's not, the Acolyte is not necessarily a Sith, even though he's
the director already said it was a Sith and that there's 2 Sith in the show.
Hey, calm down, sir. At this point, we don't know that yet.
Yes, we do, because she's already said it. The internet exists. You can look up any information within seconds.
Well, they've also had very loose lips with this show. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Another thought I just had, and we'll keep talking about the fourth episode, but just talking about this Sith thing made me think back to the 3rd episode. Are these guys referring to the Force as the thread? I don't. That's one thing I did not like about this episode is it's like they almost diminished what the Force is in that episode. They're like, some call it the Force, but it's the thread or whatever. I'm just like, are they saying the Force is whatever you want it to be, and it's not the Force then? Like,
no, they're saying that some people call it the Force. We call it. This is what our culture calls it. Other people refer to it as the Force. It's like religion, right? Some people call it prayer. Some people call it something I can't think of. I'm trying to think of something else that fits within our world to give us perspective. It's just that's within the culture that they have. It's referred to in their history in the witches' world to be a thread. They are then using that to try to help I think that line is in there to help the audience to understand that the Jedi, and because Osaka is showing that she likes the Jedi or whatever her name is, Osha. She's trying to say that they call it this, but this is what we call it. So I think it's just a way. It's just a way of calling it something. I mean,
I felt like I just felt like the way they were talking about it when they were saying like the Jedi call it the Force, like kind of like they're idiots for calling this the Force. This is what it is. Like that's how I took it. I'm like,
isn't that kind of how all religions talk about each other?
That is true, actually.
Right? Like, I mean, it's just a different culture. So yeah, you're right. if you like, but that's what I'm trying to like. Again, that's taking our perspective and not necessarily looking at it from an in-world perspective. But yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Is like
No, yeah,
it's
can see
very
that.
similar to the way that other people talk about what goes on in our world or talk negatively about something that is exactly the same thing. But I mean, it's the difference between I don't know I was thinking two different video games like Subway Surfer and like Temple Run. It's the damn same video game, but somebody's going to tell you that one's better than the other.
True. Okay. Now, back to episode 4. You were mentioning how May is going around killing Jedi. Well, she's done doing that now. She had a change of heart.
Well, okay. Did she?
I think so.
So I guess my
So,
one thing. Go ahead.
Her saying, "I'm going to turn myself into the Jedi, confess my crimes, and they'll protect me from my master killing me. And I'm going to be good because my sister is alive and it changes everything." I thought that was kind of clear.
The reason why I say that is we don't really because everything is happening so fast. Now, I might be trying to read too much more into it and see that she's got a long game going, or she might have a long game going. But everything I think in this is not like I don't think it's supposed to be too deep into it, and the long game is not necessarily something that's there. My biggest thing is with this show and this episode is everything happens way too fast, way too convenient. So her making that switch and her changing her perspective to me was unbelievable because it was so fast.
Yes.
Well, I thought that in the second episode when they go, she went back to the what's the word for apothecary?
Oh yeah, homeboy Queel or whatever his name is.
And then all of us, she just tried to kill a Jedi Master again, and then she's all bubbly and like moving around the store like they're a couple teenagers, which I get maybe they are. So maybe that's not odd behavior, but it just seemed like really drastic from the kind of attitude she's had in previous episodes, previous scenes.
Do you think that she's trying to like play like as they're talking and walking? Don't you think that she's trying to play him and try to read him in this episode? Don't you think there's a little bit of that?
I think she may be putting some things together, yes, but if she hasn't already, then that's on her.
So you're convinced that he is the Sith?
I thought we weren't calling it a Sith.
Okay, I just said you can. Jesus.
The acolyte. He's the acolyte.
You're saying that you are convinced that the apothecary Queel or whatever his name
Kimry.
Basil.
No, not Basil. Basil's the little squirrel. The creepy.
Yes, he's definitely one of the two.
The creepy apothecary.
Yeah.
I just hope that dude is not this guy in the mask. I really do. I don't want it to be him.
Yeah, he's the guy in the mask. I don't know 100% for sure, but I'm fairly confident that that's him. And whether he's the apprentice or the master, I don't know. I almost think he's the apprentice in that he is using May to kill Jedi because, you know, as some people would say, from a certain point of view, he's not really using a weapon to kill Jedi since she's the one doing it.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, he's using a person to do it.
He's using a proxy.
And your audio just cut out there, DDoc.
Got it?
Yeah, you sound like you're in a faraway place.
Phone booth inside of a submarine. Yeah, he knew the. He let slip. Oh, there you go. That's much better.
We're good.
He let slip to her part of the Sith code there in the one episode. Pieces a lie, and when she confronted him in the alleyway outside the shop, she noticed he dodged every single one of her blows. And yeah, he's found all these Jedi. He found the Wookiee that can't be found. without the Wookiee noticing. And then the Chompers guy just happens to show up at the end, be on the same planet as them.
I heard on social media that somebody called him Kylo Grin.
Yeah, Kylo Gren.
It's a good mask. That's a good helmet. You know, I have my complaints about set design and stuff like that on this show, but I'm a fan of that helmet.
That's the one thing I hate the most about this episode in this series. I hate it, and it makes me hate myself.
That you like it so much?
Yeah, we're gonna say like 3 or 15/16 of the episodes. I just have found so little to like, and then that one scene can just suck me in.
So you did like that scene?
That scene was epic, and I don't I'm like watching this guy float in the background, and I'm like, where has this type of direction been?
Yeah, that felt like Star Wars without a doubt. Not saying that the whole show doesn't feel like Star Wars, but you know, that was like, oh, you know, it was creepy, and it was, you know, it was good. It was good stuff. And it's, again, like I said, I have my criticisms of this show, but I need to see what's going to happen next week. So,
and that, I mean, I go back to, I'm entertained. And that's all I wanted to do is entertain me. And I do have questions. And I mean, like, I'm sitting here having a conversation with you. I'm not saying you're wrong, Alfie. I just want to have the conversation and see if it actually goes. I feel like if it is the apothecary, all that does is live up to the CW moniker we're giving it. Because I feel like that's the easy way. Because of how telegraphed I feel like it is right now.
Yeah, it is very telegraphed.
So I'm hoping that it's not, that maybe he's just working for them. I don't know.
You know, I don't know if you watch Rings of Power at all, but like the character who was, you know, Sauron undercover,
yeah,
the whole time in it, like you kind of just knew it was him. You know, it was like you felt it was him the whole time.
I thought it was Gandalf. You're talking about the guy that fell from the sky, and like I was thinking it was Gandalf.
No, the guy who was working alongside Galadriel.
The guy on the raft.
Yeah.
Who had the ancient symbol necklace and just happened to be like the king of the West or whatever.
Yes.
He was just floating in the ocean. My grand plan, I'm just going to float on this raft till a high elf picks me up.
Did you say until a hot elf picks me up?
High elf.
Oh,
high
I thought you said.
Hot elf works too. I won't deny it.
I love it. I love it. Brent, are you sad that your Wookiee is dead?
He's not dead.
No one's ever really gone.
Well, he's not dead only because we know that there's going to be flashbacks.
So here's my question. Should you not stab someone with a lightsaber now? Should you do a light graze across the chest and not stab them? Because the swipe across the chest will kill you.
I almost think you got to go, you know, zombie style. You got to go for the head.
You got to double.
The only way to be sure, yeah.
You got to go. You got to go Anakin on Dooku.
Or evidently you have to use a very small knife.
Right in the center of the chest.
Right.
Oh man, that's a, like there's stuff in this show that you I don't know. There's stuff in the show that I just kind of laugh at. You know, what all the other crap going on outside of this, whether people are, you know, like Brent was saying, like if people are sending death threats and all that shit, it's ridiculous. I think you're allowed to criticize the stuff that you don't like about this show and still be a fan of Star Wars. Kind of like what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? It's like we're not trashing it. We're laughing about the stuff, you know, that's going on with it. But man, it is like it's dangerous out there right now.
It's just not Star Wars though, it's everything. Rings of Power, even though I'm not going to get into that, but still, that's faced major criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Season 8 of Game of Thrones, I mean, for God's sakes, every day on the Sopranos Reddit, they're still talking about the last episode. Every single day, somebody brings it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could bring up Donovan McNabb on sports radio out here, and you'll get
You're not a Midwesterner, but Pete Rose is the same way.
Yeah, we don't have anything to talk about today. Let's just bring up Pete Rose. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? We go for 6 hours. Let's start taking calls.
Yes. So, people talk passionately about things. I mean, going to the levels that some people are going is asinine, but it's okay to criticize the show because there's stuff about I recently messaged Okairo and asked him, I'm just like, why is House of the Dragon, which is the same budget, a little bit more, just because they have more episodes. I think it's 20 million or so more than the Acolyte, which is 8 30-minute episodes. House of the Dragon is 10 1-hour episodes. And it looks extremely cinematic and well thought out, and the scenes are amazing, and it's big, and you're in that world. I'm just like, how does this not feel like that with this budget? Double the budget of Kenobi. Are the actors and actresses getting paid a ton of money to do this show? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know, because it does. That's the one thing that just keeps drawing me out of this show the hardest is just how bad it looks. That scene with the Jedi.
Right before they get force thrown?
That scene and the scene where all the Jedi were talking in the temple, it just looked so bad. It's like a bunch of Star Trek characters. They don't look like Star Wars characters. And Mando didn't look that way.
no.
I mean, for the most part, outside of the speeder chase, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi had some really bad scenes, but not like consistent. This series feels like you're just going from set to set.
Oh, without a doubt. It feels like I'm back at Universal Hollywood going through the backlot tour.
I'm not stupid. I understand that in the season 2 finale of Mando, there really wasn't an Imperial cruiser, so he wasn't running. You know what I mean? But it never felt like he was leaving one set and going to the next.
Yeah.
This was the first episode that had some really wide establishing shots when they were walking through the hills, and it looked okay for a little bit, and then immediately goes right back to this real tight, almost like sitcom Star Trek kind of view, and it just looks like everything ends on each side. If that makes any sense.
I know exactly what you mean, and it's like the scene when they were marching through the mountains, almost like Fellowship of the Ring-esque type
Right.
scene where you're walking through that path, and you feel the mountains. And I was like, okay, I'm like, this actually looks like it was filmed outside somewhere. They had to have for that scene. I don't know how else. I don't know what movie magic they could have used for that one. But yeah, like you said, it's like then you go into the forest. And it looks like people set up just a bunch of fake plants with wooden, like with the prototypical like wooden plank with like a fake plant on the bottom of it, that's just what it felt like. And I don't know. I mean, I love when things look cinematic, and to me, Star Wars usually does. It's part of the reason why I love Star Wars is because of the ships, the technology they've used to make these movies to immerse you in it. I mean, this was one critique I had. I don't know how to bring it up on my screen, but I mean the ears here on the Osha's mom or whatever. Look, like you can just see the prosthetic where it starts and where it ends. Like it's terrible. Doesn't look good. I mean, I don't know. It's just, if you're going to have something look like that, try to hide it a little bit, maybe. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm not, the stuff that I probably, some of the characters, just the design, especially as far as like aliens go and everything in this and ships, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to buy in on some of it.
So
I completely agree.
What do we like? All right. So
I like the story more than
Yeah.
anything. I love the story, but
I feel like the story's believable. And so what I think, like, there's something that we were talking that I think I was listening to somewhere. It's very abrupt, and they change their places very quickly, and it makes it hard to believe. But it's almost like one has to be good and the other one has to be bad. Or one has to be on one side of the force and the other one has to be on the other, the May and OSHA. So like what I'm getting at is OSHA was progressing towards the light side, was doing the light thing, was being the good guy, quote unquote good guy. And then May was being the bad guy. They go on the hunt, they find the Wookiee, they kill the Wookiee. Before they kill the Wookiee, she has this change of heart where she realizes, no, I don't have to be the bad guy. Does that mean that OSHA then makes the turn to the bad because now May, like, I mean, you're saying, you've said this for a while, and this is kind of where I'm going with it, is like, I think they almost have to be, like, there has to be a duality between the two of them, is what they're trying to set up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this is me trying to put some more meaning into it than maybe that there is, but I feel like you can't have light without the dark, right? Because that's what they say in their little poem to each other before they got caught in that third episode. You complete me, I complete you, light and dark. So there almost has to be one, like, and they can switch back and forth, I feel like also. But I think one has to be one and the other has to be the other.
what if one ceases to exist?
I almost feel like they both cease to exist.
Interesting. I mean,
because I feel like they're tied. There's a part of me that feels like they are tied together. And they're tied together as opposites.
How do you like that for
that.
how do you like that for a sibling fight? You know, if you're gonna leave, then I'm gonna kill you.
I mean, have you said that to your brother before?
Yeah, but I never trapped them in a room and tried to set it on fire.
My brother chased me with a knife because
that's scary.
I broke his wrist on accident. But then he went and got a knife, and he chased me with a knife, and I think he was going to kill me if he got a hold of me.
I'm glad you got away from him.
So
that's a little more than just saying you're leaving home.
Right, but again, she was devoted to the order. She was May was devoted to the family.
True.
I know.
OSHA had a wanderlust.
That's why I'm just like, if she's been this way since she was a kid, how all of a sudden is she just like, I'm a good guy now? Screw all this stuff. I don't need to do this anymore.
I'm sure she'll totally forgive me for locking in a room and setting it on fire.
But don't you think they could talk it out, or at least try to talk it out? Which is also why, because of all of that, is why I think she's trying to play and she's trying to feel out the sides. Which is why I don't know if May completely did change, but at the same time, if this falls along with what we are calling the CW style of television, then she did abruptly make that change and make that realization. It may not be as deep as what I'm saying.
I think the truth is going to come out, and that will be what turns OSHA to the dark side, if just for a fleeting moment, and she'll be the one to kill one of the Jedi without a weapon, probably. Yeah, because he kind of Ned Starked himself there by saying, "I promise you, I'll tell you the truth when we get back."
Ned Starked himself.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of have gotten this feeling that I was a little worried for Soul's life as this is going on too, because they're always, you know, whenever they're talking about whatever happened or whatever, it's always zooming in on him, and he always looks horrified by what happened and everything like that. You know, I don't know. Dude, I gotta say, or go ahead. So sorry.
The Padawan in the first episode picked up on it when they were meditating, and he walked by her, and she said, "I see fire consuming everything."
Interesting. Hey, did you notice they had a ginger Jedi training them at the temple?
Yes.
Can't get rid of him, can they? I mean, better watch out. He's going to steal their souls.
He kind of looked like Tormund, didn't he? He had the nice ginger beard going on, the long hair.
He had a nice beard, and the comb back.
Give me a black series of that
ginger
guy.
curls.
Give me a black series of that guy, whoever the hell he was. Yeah, that's why I'm also confused too, because it's like Saul was teaching everybody in the Jedi Temple, and then it's like I'm gone. You know what I mean? It's like I thought like when your job is to train them, I felt like that's kind of like
it's like having Dr. Jones as a college professor. He just may leave for months at a time.
It's true.
That's great.
I mean, he really would just take off and jet.
That's great.
And you knew where he was going because you could follow the plane on the map.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, as we sit here and talk about the stories going on in this show, they are interesting, and I want to know what is going to happen.
I firmly believe if this was a novel, I would be eating this shit up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wish that they made better decisions with what they put into these shows visually. I really do. I think the lightsabers look like they're way too big too. Like the hilts look fucking huge. Part of my French. Have you noticed that the lightsaber hilts look like the hilts look like this when they're holding them? You know what I mean? It's like I'm like, why are they using that expandable one that they brought out at D23 2 years ago, where it's like, oh, we made a lightsaber that can expand, but the only problem is the hilt is the size of a 2-liter bottle. Like, sorry, Disney, but I don't know. The glow of a lightsaber is not worth making it look like shit on camera. I will never give up on this. They don't look good. The Sith's lightsaber I thought looked pretty cool. Maybe that was like old school technology, but when Saul pulled his lightsaber out and sliced that beetle, that scene sucked because the lightsaber didn't look good. And again, it's like I'm not criticizing the actors or anything like that. It's like, and I enjoy this story, but it's like just the little things like that are what make people just go like, come on. Like, seriously?
A lot of the acting in this really looks like, to me, like they just did one run through and said, that's good enough. Let's go with it. I don't know. There's just something off about it to me.
I mean, I think Amanda Stenberg, I think she does a good job of creating two different characters, because May and Osha definitely feel like two different characters. But now it's a little weird just because May is just good all of a sudden.
But you've seen her for what, 4 seconds being good?
Dude, she's good. There's no way. She's not going to.
Like, that's what I'm getting. And that's that's where my problem comes in, is that it's too fast. Because literally she says that and we're assuming that she's good. I don't know. I'm willing to suspend disbelief on that because I think that she hasn't quite. She's going to flip back and forth. I don't know if she's good. And that's the other thing, is I don't know if she's good. She wants to go talk to her sister. That doesn't mean that she's going to take away the dark side energy or the dark side force. She thinks she's devoted to her sister. That doesn't mean that she's turning away from being dark. It doesn't mean that she's going to be good.
Right. It doesn't mean that if she confronts her sister and her sister's like, hey, hold on a second. You locked me in a room and tried to burn me alive, and you've killed all these Jedi masters. I'm not quite on board with this right now.
Although the one did kill himself, though, actually, which I don't know how that counts, but
yeah, she gave him the tool.
That's true.
There's got to be something from May's point of view where she didn't throw the fire down. She started the fire.
Yeah. The whole death thing doesn't have anything really to do with her in the temple. Either the Jedi killed her or killed them all. There's going to be some confrontation there. And we haven't seen the other mother as being dead. So, there's a chance that she's still out
but there's a whole bunch
strings.
There was a whole bunch of dead bodies.
Here's the thing too. Did they actually show May throw that down? Because I feel like
No.
she took whatever lantern or whatever the hell that was off. And then when the fire started burning in it, I felt like she kind of just sat there and looked at it. And
It was
then
a
next
sacred
thing you
Jedi
know,
text. Wasn't it
Yeah.
a sacred Jedi text?
I don't know. It was some book or something.
It looked like a Jedi text.
I think the Sith guy is gonna, whoever this person is gonna be the mastermind behind this whole.
yeah, there you go,
Scenario.
Alfie. There you go. Because if the Jedi knew about these two Force-sensitive twins created through the Force, why wouldn't a dark side character be watching them? And
Well,
teaching them, right?
The two mothers say if they find out how we did it, so maybe someone helped them. Maybe they're expanding their knowledge a little bit.
And so they're getting help from a Jedi or from a Darksider who could have been the precursor to Tenebus, right? Because isn't Tenemus's Plagueis's?
I think so. Whether or not that's 100% canon, I don't really know.
But it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be Plagueis. It's not like.
Not yet.
I don't want this show to have anything to do with Plagueis at all. I do not want to see him in this show. I want this to have nothing to do with them. Nothing at all. I don't want that to happen. I really don't. Because then I'm going to be angry because I'm going to say we should have just had a Plagueis show because the story is too damn good.
I think it's going to be, May sees the destruction and, this nice person shows up and says, hey, let me tell you what happened, what the Jedi did. You want to get back at them? Let's get started.
There you go.
So do you think the two of them are going to work together? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, obviously someone has been training her. She just doesn't know who it is because they wear a mask.
And you're convinced it's the apothecary.
One of them is the apothecary. I'm pretty sure that the apothecary guy is the dude in the mask. Whether or not the master wears a mask, who knows? I mean, not very many people put it together that Darth Sidious was Chancellor Palpatine, and he just wore a hood over his eyes.
That's true. That's true.
But he only revealed himself to the Nemoidians. Like, he really didn't reveal himself as Sidious for the longest time.
I need to see the apothecary guy's name here because I do. What's his name?
Queel. Something like that.
Kimry.
Basil?
No, it's not Basil.
It's Kimry. Qimri.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. Qimir. Keemer?
I don't know.
Kimmer?
It's Qimir. Keemer.
Whatever, the apothecary guy. Just like I call him Slapface, and I will always call Cyril Slapface. This dude is apothecary guy. He reminds me of the dude that got into a lot of trouble playing The Flash.
Yep, he does look like him. I
just don't know that actor's name, but that's like every time I see him. There you go.
Yeah, he looks like him. He definitely looks similar to him. One name to remember, guys. Actor name Paul Bouillon.
Yeah, he's the ginger.
Master Lakshay. Keep him in mind. He might play a role at one point because he's a ginger, so you never know.
Yeah, he's a red shirt if he's anything.
Okay. I understand that the Sith have been gone for a millennium or whatever. I get that 100%. I'm all on board on that. I get that they're always going to downplay the threat, right? It's rogue Jedi. Maybe it's just somebody posing as whatever. But if you have fought countless wars against one specific enemy, when you see their telltale weapon that they carry, wouldn't that be a sign for cause to, hey, back off a little bit? I'm not saying disengage from fighting him or whatever, but hey, let's put out a Jedi Force call or whatever. We got some serious shit going on right here. And that's what bothers me is, okay, so in this series, they're going to say, no, it can't be that. It's got to be something else. Fine, okay. And then in episode 1, they're going to say, no, it can't be that. It's got to be something else. In episode 2, they say, no, it can't be that. It's got to be something else. Just seems to me like that would be the biggest threat you were looking out for. The possible return. Whether it would be them, probably not, but would you always want to be so nonchalant about it?
Yeah, I agree. It's back to Game of Thrones. It's a the wall and winter is coming type scenario. You know,
Right.
people look at the wall and like all that stuff, and it's like they literally built that just for the White Walkers to come back, you know, and it's similar to
Right.
the Sith.
And I get it. If they took the threat seriously, there wouldn't be a story. I get that. But it just always makes them look so ridiculous. And I get that. That's part of the storytelling. I get it. But at some point, can't you tell the story a little bit differently? Instead of going back on established like tropes of storytelling.
Eh.
I know it's after dark there, Brent, but I mean,
I'm trying to stretch things out, straighten some stuff out.
I bet you are.
He's trying to stretch things out.
Oh boy.
Oh God, I love it. I love it. Now,
First
was the lightsaber toss in this the red lightsaber throw?
No, that's going to be in like episode 6, maybe 7.
So are we going to be stuck in the woods? Now, the title of this episode was called Day. Why do you think it was called Day?
It was?
It was just
Yeah.
called Day.
I don't know. Maybe because it ended at night? With the darkness? I mean, that was pretty sweet that the whole scene did revolve around the sun setting. And
True.
as he came down, it was like completely black.
True. Do you think we'll see any action from these beetles that are in the trees again? Or were they just for that one awesome slice scene that happened?
They're attracted to the light, so like you would think within seconds they'd be all over the Jedi, right?
That's
That
true.
I don't know. They didn't really react until she touched one of them, so.
And then she said, everything I touch dies or something along those lines, right?
Yeah, wasn't that kind of a morbid thing for the one, what is it, Jackie, to say? It's always an honor to see someone or something rejoin the Force.
No,
I get what you're saying, but
you're right. It was said in a weird way, but she did say something also like we're not defined by. Shit! It was a great quote. We're not defined by the challenges. Oh shit! I've watched it twice and I can't remember, and I wanted to remember that quote. It was Jackie's quote to Homegirl when they were talking and flirting about Jord. We're not defined. I'll have to find it somewhere else. I apologize. I don't have it. And I thought it was a very poignant and really good quote. But I got nothing for you right now because I can't.
We're not defined by what we lose. We're defined by what we survive.
That's what, yes. I like that statement. How did you find, did you just search that quote?
I'm telling you, the Force works in mysterious ways.
isn't Google
'cause
amazing? I mean, you can literally ask it any question.
I didn't even Google it.
Boom,
I'm
it's right
on
there.
I'm still on IMDb from looking at Kamir. From looking at his name, and I'm sliding down and I saw "Did you know?" and it had a quote underneath it, and it said, "We're not defined by what we lose. We're defined by what we survive." Then it has
I thought that was
goofs in the episode. Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi appears in this show. He was not actually born until 92 BBY. The series is set in 132 BBY, 40 years before Ki-Adi-Mundi was born. And then for trivia, we're going back to my boy Basil. Basil is a Tainan
Yeah,
Yes.
he's an EU character that was brought to life for the first time
Yes.
in live action.
Yeah, he's a cross between an otter and a beaver. The species was first mentioned in Brian Daley's 1979 Star Wars novel, Han Solo's Revenge. Interesting.
It was also the first. Let me pull. I took a picture so I would not forget.
So does that mean the EU is canon?
No. I think it just means when it's a nice place to find somebody else's good ideas.
True.
When you're stuck on something.
What were you going to read there? I cut you off.
The first live appearance of the Selkath, who first appeared in the Knights of the Old Republic.
Interesting.
If you paid really super close attention, when they walk through the door of the Jedi Temple, the temple guard is a Selkath. It's a subaquatic species that was in that and has reappeared in the High Republic novels. I understand you don't read, so I'm just telling you.
I mean, because the internet says that like no one reads anymore, and that like I don't even have a full understanding of what a Jedi is, so I'm not even a Star Wars fan.
You don't even have to read because they were a major part of 2 video games.
I don't play a lot of the video games either. What games?
That's not my fault. That's yours. Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It was an off week for the Yord Horde. Yord wasn't very involved this week.
No,
and last week.
He didn't do his laundry either.
Do any of them do the laundry? They're all wearing the same robes.
He was in the first episode. He was steaming his
robe.
I gotta say though, when it comes to all of the characters in this show, I feel like Yord gives me the biggest like Jedi vibes out of almost all of these guys, and that might be funny to say, but he reminds me of like the naive Kenobi, like before he kind of dealt with a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, this is what you have to do. These are the rules. This is how you do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the code. This is the Jedi. This is how it's done. Yord reminds me of that kind of. Like, I feel like they've done a good job with his character, even though he's hardly done much. Like, I don't know. He gives me strong, like, Jedi Council vibes. Not that the others don't, but, like, I feel like he feels like a classic, like, Jedi, in my opinion.
I would agree with that because in the episode where they were on the ship and Saul let slip that Osha had a twin, he immediately interjected with, "That's not in the report. Like, you didn't follow the rules. Wait a minute. You're hiding something? Jedi don't do this."
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, what do you guys think was going to, if you have any predictions for next week, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to have an epic battle scene, or do you think this guy is just going to be gone?
Flashbacks.
Oh, dude, we better not get a week of flashbacks again.
I think this will be the episode where we get to see like the same scene 3 or 4 different times from different perspectives.
I feel like I feel like we're going to get May's perspective in that same flashback scene. But that's got to happen when May and Osha are safe and away from, because I feel like there's going to be some danger, or at least we were left with some danger. And hopefully they resolve that, but I feel like they have to be away and safe for that to, I said hopefully, Alfie. So I don't think May's flashback's going to happen until they get back. So we're going to go into episode 6. I don't think that'll happen until episode 7. No, we're going to be in episode 5. So I don't think that'll be 6 or 7. I think Saul's recollection will be 8 or 9. No, 8's the last one. So 7 or 8 is going to be Saul's recollection. It'll put it all together. Is the way I look at it. Or it could be Saul's is next, but we're definitely going to get at least 2 more good chunks of flashback. because you're gonna have to see Soul's side and you're gonna have to see May's side.
I agree. At some point, though, this fight has to be resolved, and then the second fight has to happen.
The lightsaber throw.
That will be this fight.
You're also okay. So, homegirl, bald green lady.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Vern.
remember names.
I'm sus on her.
Well, isn't she the one with the electro whip?
Yes.
So at some point, she's got to find her way to a remote planet so she can pull out her electro whip.
I think I don't know, because there's been quite a bit of forest, so it could be another generic forest planet, but it looked like it was
Kiadi was not on the ground, correct?
No.
Okay. He stayed on the ship. He did not go with the away team, right? And yes, I did use away team on purpose because it is Star Trekian.
Mm-hmm.
I do love Kylo Grin. I thought that was
is
clever.
there a gold tooth in there?
Oh my God!
Because if he has a gold tooth, I'm going to call him Sweet Tooth, like from Twisted Metal. Because I feel like this image looks like there's a gold tooth in there.
Somebody else was calling him Darth Molar or Darth Teeth.
Maybe there isn't. I mean, I'm a big.
I think
fan.
it's just the red. I know you can't see where I'm pointing at, but right there in the front, it looks gold, but I think it's just the red reflecting.
Yeah, I mean that little force push he did, that was pretty freaking awesome.
Little force push
for
he
him,
pushed like 9 Jedi.
For him, he just went like this.
True, but it was probably the most powerful force push we've seen in Star Wars. Oh no, I'm Kiadi. Oh, Kiadi.
It's definitely not the same guy who played him though, right?
No, it's not.
No,
it's not. Somebody's already checked online.
See, I can't get over this costume design. I don't like that is awful in my opinion. Do you need to make him look like that? I guess maybe those are injuries from what happened at
the scar above his eye. So the scar above his eye is, if you watch the chanting episode, the 3rd episode, he didn't have it. And then if you watch the very end of it after the fight or after everybody runs to the ship, he has that scar. So that is his trauma scar from what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, when he fights Kelnaka.
I mean, he is wearing a cloak here, and our guy was wearing a cloak.
I just hope it's not him. Just like I hoped that Tech didn't come back in the Bad Batch. I hope it's not him.
Basil. No one's suspicious of Basil. He disappeared for a little bit. That's what the guys on Rebel Force Radio were saying. I was cracking up.
I mean, he's a little weasel.
Well, I'm screwing our
Duke
cameras up there.
So we know they have to have finish this confrontation. We have to have some more flashbacks to flesh out the story. And then from the trailers and TV spots, Soul chases May's ship through this ring. And I think there's a final confrontation on wherever the witch's planet was at. That's just going off of the footage that we haven't seen yet.
Is this a 1-season show?
They said they already had a story for season 2. I think maybe even like a season 3.
See, I was looking at this thinking it was a limited series and that it's just going to be a 1-season show, like before it even came out, even when the early hype was happening and everything. I just thought that's what it was going to be.
I think it's kind of like Ahsoka. We'll see what the numbers are.
Well, I read that Disney put this on a Tuesday night for good reason, because there's not any competition on Tuesday nights. So they can say The Acolyte was number 1 on its premiere nights.
I don't know why they don't do a regular release like this on every one of their shows. This is the midnight premiere release and then the 9:00 p.m. Pacific time release is just, or no, the midnight premiere release on the West Coast is freaking stupid.
Oh yeah, and then we
They
get
should have
3
been
a.m.
like this. They should have been like this from the jump.
I agree. And we've been saying that on this podcast for Mando and everything else. Now I'm curious if they'll do it for Mando. They should. It's like that's my favorite part about, that was one of my favorite parts about Game of Thrones and now House of Dragon, which is running again right now. Sunday night at 9:00, I've got something to do. It's the perfect night. It's like right the end of the weekend. You don't want your weekend to be over yet. Here you go. You got a 9 p.m. episode of Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. I love me a Sunday 9:00. Tuesday is, in my opinion, by far the worst day of the week. So having a new show on a Tuesday is pretty nice.
We don't really watch TV in our house at all, so I mean, it really doesn't matter. I like it being at 9, so that it's easier to watch, but yeah.
I just think this is just, it's normal. It falls within my normal time. I feel like it's a normal time to watch. I don't feel like I have to do anything extra. I don't have to wake up extra early. Don't have to stay up extra late. Us East Coasters, I feel like got some of the shaft on the 3 a.m. I don't know. Just feels good to watch it at a normal time.
Is it humid in Indiana? Indianapolis, by the way, India area.
Yes, very.
It's like coming back from the West Coast. I was there for a little under 2 weeks. Coming back here and experiencing 95 degrees and like extremely high humidity makes me realize how much it sucks sometimes out here. It really does.
Sometimes? All the time. Humidity was awful. I lived in Arizona for 3 years, and I came back, and that first summer that I came back, I felt sick to my stomach because of the humidity.
I've had a runny nose since I came back, and I mean, I don't know if that's just airplane germs.
That's the plane.
Or if I'm like maybe spending almost 2 weeks away from my cats, maybe they bother me or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely the plane. Which I had a great flight. I know I'm getting off topic of the Acolyte right now, but I watched a lot of good. I watched E.T. on my way out there.
Nice.
First time in a long time watching E.T.
I watched Fallout on the plane when we went to Florida. When I flew to Florida, but I've never gotten back to it.
I've heard great stuff about that show.
It's all right. I mean, I liked it. It's all right.
Were you entertained?
Yeah, that's why I said it's all right. Like I'd go back and watch it again. I know I missed stuff. I know nothing about the games. I recently watched Halo 2, and I actually like the Halo TV show. And I'm probably the only one that'll tell you that because you know why? I didn't play the games. So I had no knowledge of any of that stuff that people got upset about.
Never played Halo?
Nope. I refused to play Halo, actually.
Why?
Because the first time I played it, when I wanted to look up, I had to push down. And I was
realized there was a menu where you could switch that? Like on every single game that's ever been invented?
I haven't played very many of them since then.
Halo is incredible.
So you let a controller setting that's easily accessible on the settings menu keep you from playing one of the greatest video games of all time.
If you want to say it that way, sure.
I wish I could say it was lying, Brent, but it is true. It is one of the best of all time, and it is a simple fix.
Yeah.
But you might have not, the early Halo days, you guys might not have been able to. Yeah, Google then. Never mind.
No, I mean, you could have, and then every time I went to somebody's place, I had to reset it. I just got annoyed with it. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, I was like the kid who would like get in arguments with people that I was a PlayStation guy. I'm not getting Xbox. I'm not getting GameCube. I'm PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. PlayStation 1's better than everything else. And then I played Halo for the first time. And then I was just like, yeah, I need an Xbox. and I've been Xbox ever since. Halo converted me.
Alfie is still reeling from my comment.
By the way, Alfie, you're in for a treat with House of the Dragon because it just picks up right where it left off, and it's very good.
Nice.
Brent, did you almost shed a tear in the first episode at one point?
Why would I shed a tear?
When Rhaenyra saw her son when he finally got back from doing his trips, and the two of them saw each other and kind of had their little breakdown.
I honestly no.
Talking about the son who lived, or the son that got eaten by the dragon?
The son who lived.
The son who lived. The one that went to the wall. No, I did not. I did not have
Stark.
I didn't have a breakdown on that, but I feel like the Greens even more after I rewatched it. She's even more of a horrible individual than I thought she was before.
She sucks, man.
She's Alicent's a terrible individual.
She really sucks. And her son also has like a bit of good in him, I feel like, from when he was
Which son? One eye?
The one who's the king.
Oh, he has no redeeming qualities whatsoever.
Don't get me wrong. He's effing around and drinking and enjoying the fact that he's the king. But the first time he got to meet with like the peasants and everything, he was just like
well, okay. So he tried to like throw a bone, and Alicent's father was like, nah, you can't throw a bone.
Nah. Yeah, I feel like I wish I did a rewatch of the first season. I'm gonna probably watch a summary at this point. I remember everything, and there's some good stuff in this episode to kind of make you remember everything. But yeah, it's great. I love the cast for this show. Love the story.
I still like young Rhaenyra better than old Rhaenyra.
See, I like both. Young Rhaenyra was very good, but I like both.
So,
but no, Alicent does suck.
I mean, she had some fun.
She's getting it on in this episode, I'll say.
There's some consequences to that.
There should be, because they were talking smack about Shay Crispin or whatever the hell his name is, the one she's getting it on with.
I hate that dude. I want him to die.
Well, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it with Rhaenyra, but he'll do it with Alicent. Is it just because she was 12 and she's like 30?
I thought he did do it with her.
He was upset about it, and he questioned his morals and questioned
afterwards.
Whether. Right.
Yeah, he got that post clarity and thought, "Oh shit, what did I do?"
Right, but now
how did I get here?
But now he straight up has no qualms whatsoever, none, with Alicent.
No, he's on the winning team. You don't worry about that stuff.
That's one thing that I was hazy on was I forget what happened to the actual father of Rhaenyra's boys.
He got burnt alive in Harrenhal.
Okay.
By his brother.
You're right. Yes. Okay. I remember it now. And is his brother the guy who has like the little cane and is walking around?
Yes.
Yes. There you go. Okay.
Oh, so like that creepy dude is related to the fat guy that was the hand for a little bit.
Yeah.
When they fired Alicent's
father, Strongs, that was their father, and I
didn't realize the creepy dude.
Yeah, he locked his father and brother in that room in Harrenhal and then burnt them alive.
Yeah, I remember it because that's what he said to Alicent. Like he essentially said to Alicent, like, I can make moves for you if you want me to. And I think that's what proved himself
to her. Take your
her.
shoes off.
Yeah, he just needed to look at her feet for a little bit. You just need a little Rex Ryan action there.
Oh, it's terrible. Wow. That's an old pull. That was going to the well.
That's the first time I ever learned about foot fetish. I was young when that happened. I just was like, oh, people are into feet.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I will never forget Adam Vinatieri in an interview that week saying when they in the game, they were going to put their best foot forward.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Wow. I'm trying to think of anything we could have missed tonight because we're just approaching an hour and a half here, which is
How
usually.
does it always go an hour and a half?
Dude, this hour and a half flew tonight. I gotta
Yeah.
say that. It really flew by. And you know what that says? That says that there's some good story action going on with the Acolyte. Not that I love everything. I'm below 50% on the Acolyte, I gotta say, just because of the stuff that I want, that I care about, that I want to see. I'm picky though when it comes to cinematics and what it looks like. I'm very picky about that stuff. If House of the Dragon looked like the Acolyte did, I would say, what the hell is going on right now? I like that's
No, clearly House of the Dragon has the visuals down. Like it is very cinematic. It feels like an hour-long movie.
Is cinema like is to make a show look cinematic a secret at this point though? Like that Disney can't figure out?
I think it goes down
Or are they lazy?
I don't think it's lazy. I think it's the people that you put in charge and their skill sets. They don't have someone who's made major motion pictures. If you go to Mandalorian, who was the showrunner in Mandalorian?
Favreau.
Arguably one of the better movie makers and superheroes, and knows how to use technology. He was the showrunner. He had the technical know-how. He had the camera knowledge. He had the shot placement, the cinematography knowledge. You go to go to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know what Deborah Chow. I know she's worked on The Mandalorian, but I don't know if she's worked on any other major motion pictures as a showrunner, director, or setting up shots. Headland was something I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that most of her experience was in plays and doing stage shows and writing and doing stage acting. And if you watch that third episode, that screamed musical. That screamed setting up plays and in that type of environment. Like that was what she was used to. So that's what she knows how to make.
See, I like plays though. I like plays, and I didn't like that.
No, that's not for me.
But so I think to me that's what it comes down to. It comes down to who's running the show and what is their skill set.
See, and that just makes the problem go up the ladder for somebody letting this crap out, saying that this is good enough. We're willing to put our name on this. Because to me, this does not look like it should have anything associated with Lucasfilms.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen fan-made stuff on YouTube that's like impressive compared to some of the stuff I'm seeing here. Like, that's all. Like, I don't know. And I know people work hard on this stuff, and I hate to just easily knock it. Like, this would be like someone walking into a bathroom that I just renovated and telling me that I suck. You know what I mean? It's not fun because it's an art, it's a craft, it's something that you got to make and people put a lot of time into. But I'm just like, I don't know. When it comes to Star Wars and something this big, I just feel like it should look and feel like Star Wars.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly okay I would be fine. I would feel a lot much better about the show. And I know hindsight is always 20/20. If you were to have come out and said, you know what, this isn't cutting it. We're going a different direction.
Yeah. I mean, so
go ahead.
I'll go and I think it's also who's doing their reviewing, and because I'm going to go back to maybe they did, but at the same time, they're full of yes men because The Last Jedi was a shock to everybody who watched the previews, because everybody who did any of the screen testing, anybody who was a part of that, and they did try to do it, said that it was good, and they were shocked at the fan reaction to it. So the people that are watching it may not even have an understanding to give the proper feedback. To say that this is crap.
Maybe people just aren't as talented as what we're used to. Maybe without the right person in charge, that magic doesn't happen.
I do think that that's most of it. I think we want everything to catch that same level of magic that Favreau caught, right? But
No. You go back even further than that. That's what
I
this
got
company was founded on.
I got you, but I'm saying currently, like the current group, where we're sitting at right now, you want it to look and feel like Mandalorian.
If you're only going to limit it to Disney Star Wars, then yes.
I just think that money is not going to the right places. I don't know where the hell the money is going, but I just don't understand.
I don't think money is the issue so much as I don't think money makes it happen. And then that's what this is missing, is that sense of, and I think Disney Star Wars as a whole, outside of The Mandalorian, has really missed that like leap forward that every Star Wars movie has had. Where
Right.
it may not have worked 100%, but you could see like, man, this is leaps and bounds over the last one.
Yeah.
And then the next one is even better. And
I
then,
mean, I
we
felt that
take a
with Rogue
huge
One.
break. Yeah, Rogue One. I'll give you Rogue One.
I think some of it has to do with the necessity and pushing for the necessity, right? So the reason why I think we were talking about it with the special effects when we had the people on, and we were talking about like pushing things, and like the people at ILM, they didn't know what they could do and what they couldn't do, so they just created, and they had to create because there was the necessity to create. Right now, I don't think there is that same level of feeling of the necessity to create. Well, because we have the volume, we have this. We don't have to do anything
Lazy.
super new. I don't know if it's.
But if you're going to go on a media tour and say that we have made something without the volume, we didn't need that. We're doing it the old way.
We wanted to go back to the roots.
This is what we're doing, and then your product looks so flat. You're like, well, didn't anybody in the process ever say, "Hey, this doesn't look right. This doesn't, this doesn't feel like Star Wars. This doesn't look like Star Wars." Does everything have to look 100% right? I don't know, but it should just have a kind of feeling to it. I think that's what this is missing. The pieces are there, but it's just not being put together correctly, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, what bothers me is I can't find a single image of a single ship on this show because I want to find them and look at an image of it and know what it is. I'm telling you, that ship that landed in the last episode on the planet they're at right now looked like one of Gru's ship from Despicable Me.
Like the first episode when the ship took off from the Jedi Temple, it looked the same. It was just a horrible, horrible shot. Yeah. And the ship in the asteroid field was a horrible shot. And to me, that's the easy stuff.
Yeah, the ship in the asteroid field did not look.
You've got like 50 years of experience, background, things that you can pull from. How do you mess that up that badly?
Yeah, like you could take little bits and pieces. And to me, that's why there are no Lego sets coming out from this show, because they don't give two shits about the ships at all in this show, which is a part of Star Wars. I don't care if it makes me a lightsaber pew pew guy that I want to see that stuff. But yeah, I want to see the ships. That's part of it. That's what makes Star Wars different from any other sci-fi out there, in my opinion, is the ships they've created. To me, it's just not a thought at all in this show.
It's like, okay, the difference between the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy to me is some things in the prequel trilogy that were bad, legitimately bad, could be overlooked by the fact of, yes, you were creating such a massive world. The clones, their ships, their tanks, the droid ships, all the droid tanks, all this stuff, right? And then the sequel trilogy, there wasn't anything that to me stood out as Lucasfilm like pushing the world and making it bigger. It was all a lot of the same things.
No, it was just let's take an X-wing and make the engines a little more sleek. Let's take an AT-AT and put some red eyes on it.
An AT-AT, you mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I do like the TIE fighters, even though all they did was kind of just add some red to them as well.
They added a second pilot.
I know. I have one up on my shelf. I bought that in Disney World. That was when my Lego craze was really kind of starting to settle in. And I will have a black and red Millennium Falcon sitting on this shelf when that freaking thing comes out. Have you guys seen the leaked photos of that?
Yes.
Dude,
Jar Jar?
I'm getting that. That is like one.
You're only
that
getting it for Jar Jar and your love of Jar Jar.
Well, I'm also getting it because my only Millennium Falcon, which is over here, my dog chewed part of the panels off of it. So that's why my Millennium Falcon sits sideways in a side shelf, because it's not very displayable because some of it was eaten. But yeah,
All right, sir.
Happens.
I digress. Well,
Got anything else? Anybody got anything else before we hit the bricks?
hit the bricks as we're talking about Legos. Anything else, Alfie?
This show really makes me look forward to Andor season 2.
That's if you're still here, that's why you stayed till the end of the episode.
If
if you know,
you were to
Alfie,
offer me a large sum of money and gave me the choice between rewatching this show or a series of shots, painful shots in the abdomen, I would ask you how many shots.
25.
Yeah, I'm taking the shots.
oh, I love it. Well, maybe the Sith will get a little cooler, or whatever he is.
And that's the thing that I hate. As awful as this show is, I hate myself for that.
You're going to stick around because you want to see what's going on with the
Just
Sith.
that 10 seconds was enough. And it's just like, what? Where was this at? I don't know. It's frustrating. Am I really easily that entertained?
Yes.
Or that pulled in? Maybe Azalea's right. Are the bad guys just that more interesting?
For you, yes.
I haven't met a character on this show that I could give two shits about. But you drop down a dude in a mask with a red lightsaber, and I'm all about it.
That's true.
You care about Kylo Ren. See, there is somebody you can give two shits about.
Basil sucked me in a little bit, and
Yeah, they'll probably ruin it.
You
like Yord.
You are a fan of the Yord Horde. You are a fan of the Beaver. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Yord Horde, but I'm also critical of the show as well. You know?
Come on, guys. That was a softball there.
I didn't hear it.
You're a fan of the Beaver. Softball.
Damn it.
I didn't know how to respond to that. What's acceptable?
Obviously not my comment. All right, I'll wrap it up. Last shots. As I always say, what do I look for? I look for something that's going to keep my attention. It's going to keep me guessing. I have questions that I want to have answered, so I will watch it till the end. Is it the best thing that I've ever seen? No. I honest. But is it god awful? Is it I don't know. I've seen worse. Yeah. That's all. That's where I'm at. Will I be here next week? Yeah. Will I watch it next week? Yeah.
True. Yep. Good points. And same for me. I'll say this is the first Disney Plus Star Wars show where I've actually caught myself going on the phone while I'm watching the show. So that to me is a sign. I'm usually not doing that. Like I'm usually like locked in. Yeah. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens next. I'll be tuning in. I mean, you gotta watch, you gotta tune in, see what happens. So, I'm not gonna be, not finishing the show or anything because I have, things I dislike about it, So we're good. It's all good. Maybe it'll continue to get a little bit better. I mean, there's stuff I like about it, stuff I don't, just like anybody else. So that's chapter 272 of Roll the Galaxy podcast, as we have 72 live viewers on the stream right now. So 272. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We're making some climbs here, boys, because Joe posted a little, short that was doing some numbers. So, we're getting some more subscribers in here. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone who listens to the podcast on Apple and any other platforms. As always, you can find us on Twitter at Rule the Galaxy Podcast. Any other platform, Rule the Galaxy Podcast. From me, from Alfie, from Brent.
Bent, huh?
Until the next time, may the Force be with you.